There's this video that about 58 of you wanted me to watch. I spent 1 week watching Hassan, PIKER, Hasan, Abi, and this is what I learned. I see. Wow, wow, wow. $19K views from a 1.5K subs YouTube channel. Wow. 3 weeks old. Okay.
Powerful movements in history are fueled
Got
by...
anyone you want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan PIKER?
Chilling with the captains, like I don't
toes
understand.
fucking down. They are on the morally right side. Anne Frank died before she could resist.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with them. Let's just say.
Now they could go tomorrow.
Did you say Anne Frank died before she could resist? I don't know if that was a fever dream.
I'm still not sure what I want this channel to be, so I'm just gonna chase subjects that
Holy shit. 11 subscribers, bro. Let's go.
catch my interest. And right now,
Regardless of
This was made by a community member. Oh, is that why it appeared in my Reddit by someone saying this video is actually surprisingly good? Was it that person promoting themselves? Wait, who's the community member? Conduit. Are they in chat ever? Conduit. Oh.
the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
right now I want to talk about Hassan.
It's music, bro. It's like I'm watching a Guy Ritchie film. Guy Ritchie intro.
I've mainly known Hassan through the clips that get passed around on social media when he says something inflammatory.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary
Oh, there they are.
organization.
Hello.
I don't have an issue with them. Let's just say.
Or dumb,
Which we have no proof for.
or inflammatory and dumb.
I believe what the Houthis are doing in terms
Taken as the largest rodent in the world. This is false. It is the second largest after another South American rodent known as sad enchilada.
Base, thanks for the $10, Jane. Appreciate it.
of stopping
The Egyptian economy took a 2.2 billion USD hit from reduced trade through the Suez Canal compared to the previous year. I never figured this out when I was editing, but when you do these like white texts with the, if this is done in Premiere, this is like the border thing that you've pushed the slider up on. I can't remember what the word. I can't remember what the word is for this. For some reason, I always found it like quite difficult to look at. I don't know if it was the color or it was better to do like a shade thing around it, but something about this has made it a bit awkward to read. I don't know if it's, yeah. But it might be also because the background is too bright. Like you'd want to dim the background when you got text over it, something like that. It wasn't shadow, no. It's not emboss, it's not drop shadow, no. I'm not going to remember what it is. I haven't used Premiere in like 2 years.
Israel doing a genocide to
Stroke.
implement.
Stroke. Use DaVinci. Yeah, on Premiere it's called stroke. And your instinct is just to ram up the fucking stroke to distinguish it from the background. But there's some other shit you got to do to make it more. Yeah.
A blockade on the Red Sea
Trial and error, though.
is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down.
Hey,
they are
let's
on the
go.
morally right side.
Hey.
And his go-to responses are that they're taken out of context, or people just don't get it, or you're a Zionist Nazi. And it doesn't line up at all with his appearances in mainstream media.
Hutch said the same thing. He's getting roasted on his font. I think the font is fine, isn't it? The font seems okay. Yeah.
People just don't get it, or you're a Zionist Nazi. And it doesn't line up at all with his appearances in mainstream media. He's got a much cleaner and more approachable personality. So much so that he's even referred to himself as
Zoomer NPR.
So I decided I wanted to take a look and see what Zoomer NPR was really like. For 1 week, I would watch Hassan's stream start to finish and report back what I learned. Let's see how Zoomer NPR stacks up to regular NPR.
What the fuck? I don't recall this quote. You can call me a terrorist, but you can't call me a liar. I mean, you're kind of both, but okay.
Black South Asian prosecutor, hashtag girl boss. Black South Asian prosecutor, hashtag.
I've made a terrible mistake. I really don't like this meme that Democrats just use diversity to paper over institutions without substantively changing them, especially when you compare them to Republicans. All you need to do is take a look to see that they are very different. Trying to critique by calling out something as tokenization becomes its own form of tokenization because you misunderstand the circumstances and deny the agency of the people who choose to be a part of those systems. How far are we into this? 5 minutes. Video game me and a Minecraft. The actual stream starts. He spends about 30 minutes talking about his last basketball game.
With hydration, especially, you know?
Alright, that's fine, I guess. We're easing in. Streaming is a more casual form of content. What's first? Stable Ronaldo was told he's in a sundown town.
Question, is this a sundown town?
Oh yeah, like 9 o'clock.
What is a stable Ronaldo? Shows the audience some green books he has. That's fine, but we're now 45 minutes in. Can we get to the news? We're on Twitter. Why are we on Twitter?
GOP comms director.
That's where we get the news. Fucking cough. Oh my god, why did it come back? I stopped coughing all day yesterday, now it's back. Fuck. Bro.
Throwing a Roman. Wait, that is the GOP comms director?
He's letting us know there's Nazis on Twitter. And they're white women.
Her name is literally Mary Jane Trumper. Party Haley McAnally? Haley McAnally.
Guys, there are white women Nazis on Twitter and they have funny names.
White ladies that did not have like any sort of interesting personality quirks would just be like a regular run-of-the-mill Republican. Now they just hit the Sig Heil.
He calls out libs of TikTok for being a Nazi despite being Jewish.
The people that did that historically did the Holocaust. Yet World War II was just...
I mean, would you call Kaya Raichik a Nazi? Probably. Definitely a fascist. Hassan calls everyone a Nazi. It's just par for the course.
It's the meme.
Put a pin in that.
Let's move on from all these fucking freaks and weirdos.
We're an hour and 15 minutes in now. Where's the news? Why is Zoomer NPR just a curated Twitter feed of Nazis? And we're looking at more Twitter Nazis. Who are these guys?
Just some Nazis lose to today's football match.
Yeah, Zoomer NPR is maybe a little bit more like left-wing Infowars, if we're being realistic. And are they really Zoomers? I don't know. The more I interact with these Hassan fans, like the rabid ones, they all seem very like burnout, mid-30s, haven't really done anything with their life energy. But I guess that's the more devoted fans.
Ukraine.
They're Ukrainian Twitter Nazis, specifically the Azov Battalion, which leads into Hassan giving his point of view on what Ukraine should be doing for peace.
Let's go.
I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than what the fuck is going on currently. But there is under no circumstance...
The fucking Minsk Accords. What? The Minsk Accords was like it was a ceasefire. The Minsk Accords also was kind of like unenforceable because one of the measures was for Russia to withdraw their military from the territory, and Putin was like, we don't even have any soldiers in Ukraine. What are you talking about, bro? The Minsk Accords. Mate, you're like 10 years behind the Minsk Accords. Minsk Accord.
Is a reasonable justification for Russia invading Ukraine, a sovereign power. Donbass is different than Crimea, and Crimea is an annexation that is, in my opinion, justifiable. It is a part of Russia, okay?
Hey.
Finally, the news. They're talking about Texas trying to redistrict in order to push Democrats out of their seats. Hassan lets the clip run without giving any meaningful commentary.
Gavin Newsom is a fake demon. He really is. He really is. He's a fake demon. Gavin Newsom's...
What the fuck? I love Gavin Newsom now. Yes. We're going to do a Gavin Newsom bit later on, don't worry. We're going to cover that.
Major problem in California is public transit and the housing market. I fucking despise him. I think he's a demon. I guess the silver lining here in a weird, twisted way is that means that like elections will happen.
I need to explain something. It's not a defense of the Israeli state to say that when you criticize Israel, you should be accurate. Obfuscating reality for the sake of vilifying your enemy makes it harder to actually deal with issues on the ground because you waste time disentangling fact from fiction. That is a truth that goes in both directions. And for a government that will enthusiastically pounce on any scrap of misinformation to discredit the entirety of a criticism, you need to be sure you're giving them no opportunity. Make sense? Cool. While Hakeem Jeffries talks to Wolf Blitzer about needing to get more aid into Gaza, Hassan can only focus on the fact that apparently they're both funded by AIPAC.
Spokesperson Wolf Blitzer is interviewing current AIPAC-funded politician.
Orders are in priority.
Nothing to see here.
How high is AIPAC on the list of organizations that give donations to candidates? I think they're in the top 200, right? Are they? I don't even know if they're in the top 100. They're okay.
Man, just
An Israeli whose grandparents
They did move up quite a bit after October 7th. They did scale up their funding quite a bit after October 7th, but before then they were pretty fucking low.
were kidnapped, one of them was murdered, is saying that they need to end the war, and his chat is calling him a Nazi. Again, this person has family that was killed by Hamas on October 7th, and they seem repulsed.
Wait, what's he saying? What's the guy saying?
Spokesperson Wolf Blitzer is interviewing current AIPAC funded politician.
Orders are in priority.
Nothing to see here, man. Just
an Israeli whose grandparents were kidnapped, one of them was murdered, is saying that they need to end the war, and his chat is calling him a Nazi. Again, this person has family that was killed by
release the hostages unconditionally, bring the ceasefire.
Hamas.
He said something about flood Gaza with aid. Poor Nazi soldiers, fuck you scumbag, suck me. You bloodthirsty ghoul. Terrorist training camp, bro.
October 7th, and they seem repulsed by him. They should be thanking him. Instead, they're self-righteously alienating the people they need to get the fighting to stop. Then he watches a John Oliver segment and criticizes John for not covering Gaza more.
He was noticeably absent from the conversation.
But that's all we get before he gets stunlocked by a chatter who says they were in the IDF in Gaza.
I've been to Gaza several times.
Oh, shit.
He proceeds to call him a Nazi, and Israel Nazis doing a Holocaust for the next 30
Concentration
minutes.
camp
You are
guard.
literally a terrorist, brother. Fucking terrorist. You are defending a Nazi state's Nazi military. You are a fucking terrorist. I'm a fucking adult. I can handle this conversation. Listen, you don't understand it. Mein family, mein Vater. Mein Mutig, we do not hate the Jews. We do not hate them. I did go to Gaza. I didn't shoot anyone. I didn't kill anyone. I've guarded. That's all. Yeah, I'm just a guard, man. I'm just a camp guard. Were you just following orders, dude? $0 for you to just like be quiet. You know about the Holocaust. Your bitch ass and your fucking family came from Russia to Israel. How?
I just love it that you realize that at no point ever in anyone's interactions in the entirety of the last 100 years has someone gone to an Israeli and been like, bro, you realize you know the Holocaust? Come on. You're doing that. And they're like, oh yeah, fuck. Oh no. Oh damn, I forgot about the Holocaust, bro. Oh no. I thought I was going there to target the military that attacked my country and killed like over 1,000 people and said they're going to do it again and again and again until we're all dead. I thought I was going after those people, but the Holocaust, oh shit, I forgot about the Holocaust, damn. And in Hassan's head, this is what the chatter's doing now. Oh shit, oh, the Holocaust.
Was that appropriate? Okay. The fucking Palestinian has been living there for generations. Your ass came from Russia.
Wait, Russia when? Is he just assuming this, or Russia when? Like, were they part of the Soviet wave, or did they come from Russia in like 1882, or what? I can't read the chat, it's blurry. And it's full quality.
How is this anything? How is this anything but Nazi fucking ideology? Jewish supremacist attitude. Israel is built on the principles of Zionism.
Damn. Nazi and Jewish supremacist. That's a pretty impressive work ethic. That's a very impressive work ethic to be able to be a Nazi and a Jewish supremacist. Not even to mention the Zionist and the apartheid and the white supremacist and the genocide and whatever else.
Okay, which is, as I repeated, a Nazi ideology. Asking me if Israel should exist is like asking, should Nazi Germany exist?
Okay, we're finally off Israel, thank God. And we're on to Zohran Mamdani. Okay, Fox News doesn't like him, and he spent the next 30 minutes shitting on Dems.
With the pepperoni nips. This is the best Elizabeth Warren tweet, and it's not even Elizabeth Warren, it's Donald Trump's tweet about Elizabeth Warren. And
now we're learning about Hassan's Twitter beef with Drew Pavlou.
Tweeted, I've been to Israel 3 times.
Okay, now we're on to Trump is putting tariffs on India. No,
Drew
he's still
Pavlov
talking about
is
Drew.
literally about to go to jail. And I think he got like a $1,000.
Okay, now it looks like he's talking about the news. That's nice. Anyway, he finally hits play on the video and he walks away. First comment when he comes back.
It's kind of pointing to.
It seems like India no longer lying, and this My heart goes out to the Hindutva fascists. I feel like they probably thought that like Modi and Trump were literally the best friends on the planet. Like no one is a closer friend to India than Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's been cut in half. Yeah. I unsheathed my katana. Nani? I just did my special move. Yeah, I cut him in half. Your anti-Semitic sword, yeah.
But then he uses Twitter in order to explain the tariffs.
We're the ones paying those taxes, you dumb fuck. Yeah, you go to buy a bed on Amazon that was made in Vietnam. The bed is now sailor, could buy ahead against the tariff increase, and can't do that into perpetuity. Tariffs make sense if you do this strategically.
Okay, another piece of critical news. Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they reported honestly on his dismal job numbers.
He also just recently fired the Federal Reserve person, didn't he? Like today. You guys see this? Tangent. Trump orders removal of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook.
Sacked.
I believe this is the first time a president has ever done this to a Federal Reserve Governor.
Federal Reserve Governor as he steps up efforts to exert greater control over the US Central Bank. In a statement, Mr. Trump said there was sufficient reason to believe Lisa Cook had made false statements on mortgage agreements. In a defiant reply, Lisa Cook hit back, saying President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law. He has no authority to do so. Well, President.
So it's not that she's the governor; she's on the board of governors. I think there are 12 governors of the Federal Reserve.
Trump has long urged the Fed to slash interest rates, but this has largely been resisted. The Federal Reserve, led by Jerome Powell, is tasked with deciding monetary policy and maintaining financial stability. Donald Trump has launched regular attacks on Mr. Powell and once described him as a numbskull. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes told us more about the decision by President Trump.
It is unprecedented. Never before has a president taken such action against a member of the Federal Reserve, one of the governors. And of course, she has a 14-year term, and these terms are deliberately long to avoid any political interference. They're renewed, or they're staggered in terms of their renewal every 2 years. So they're designed to live above politics. But President Trump has, as we've heard, posted on social media that he is firing Lisa Cook. And in fact, we have just had a reaction from Lisa Cook saying that as far as she is concerned, the president has no authority to sack her. She doesn't consider herself dismissed. In fact, she says that she will continue doing her job. In fact, she released a statement through her lawyers, with the lawyers chiming in as well, saying that they will take whatever action necessary to reverse this illegal attempt by the president to get rid of Lisa Cook. So this is to be continued in terms of...
So it's 7 people. Okay. What's it, 12? There's 12 something. Oh, 12 Federal Reserve banks, is it? There are 12 Fed banks in the United States? And 7 governors. Okay. Says the 7 members are nominated by the president, confirmed by the Senate. So if you're going to remove one, is it the Senate that has to do it? Or do they... How is a Federal Reserve governor removed? Accusing her of gross negligence and mortgage fraud. Okay. Huh. No answer. Right.
Whether she really has been dismissed, whether she indeed has the authority to continue in her job, and potentially what the president's next move is.
It's a flattering picture. Thank you, BBC. Well done. Well done, guys. Let me remind myself, what does the Fed actually do? US civics. The Federal Reserve is to do with interest rates, isn't it? And Trump really wants to bring down the interest rates. Is that right? It's monetary policy is their thing. But I don't know what else they do. Let's see what they have to say. Let's do a little tutorial. Why not? Key entities. Wow.
Hi, I'm Ian, and I work for the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States.
Wow.
The Federal Reserve System consists
of
3 main entities that perform key functions that serve the public and promote the health of our economy and the stability of our financial system. These key entities are the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, 12 Federal Reserve banks operating around our nation, and the Federal Open Market Committee. Based in Washington, D.C., the Board of Governors is the governing body of the Federal Reserve System. It's an agency of the federal government that reports to and is directly accountable to Congress. The board consists of 7 members, or governors, who are nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate.
Hey, we knew that.
Governors are appointed for 14-year terms.
Oh.
The Board of Governors oversees and sets...
So they're accountable to Congress, which means if someone was going to get removed for whatever mishaps, that would be Congress, not...
policy direction for the system, including 12 Federal Reserve banks located around the country, which take the pulse of the nation's economic health from a regional perspective. The 12 reserve banks represent different geographic regions, or districts, and were set up based on regional economic considerations. Although supervised by the Federal Reserve Board, the reserve banks operate independently in many respects. The reserve banks carry out a number of core system functions, such as supervising and examining commercial banks and other financial institutions, enforcing compliance with federal consumer protection and fair lending laws, while promoting local community development and lending to depository institutions to ensure crucial liquidity in the financial system. They and the board also play a key role in another primary Fed function, fostering the safety and efficiency of our nation's payment systems, including distributing currency and coin to banks,
Okay, yeah, I knew that, yeah.
operating electronic payment systems, and clearing our checks. In addition, the reserve banks act as the government's bank, providing services such as maintaining the Treasury Department's transaction account and issuing and redeeming U.S. government securities. They also act as a bank for banks by providing key financial services to banks, thrifts, and credit unions. The reserve banks also provide a wealth of information on conditions across the nation, information that is vital to formulating a national monetary policy that helps maintain a healthy U.S. economy and a stable financial system. The board and the reserve banks together help ensure that consumer and community voices are heard at the central bank through consumer-focused outreach, research, and analysis. This helps keep the Federal Reserve's actions, policies, and decision-making attuned to what's going on in American households, communities, and businesses, which are the foundation of our economy. The third key Fed entity is the Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC, which brings together representatives from the board and the reserve banks to consider the state of the U.S. economy and set a course for our monetary policy in a manner that seeks to promote an economy that works for all Americans. The 12-member FOMC establishes an appropriate position or stance for monetary policy to help move the economy towards 2 essential mandates set for the Fed by Congress, promoting maximum employment and price stability. This occurs mainly...
So is this actually the case? I don't. So one of their objectives is to keep employment high, to keep unemployment down.
Employment and price stability. This occurs mainly through the FOMC's influence on interest rates and credit conditions, which can significantly impact financial conditions.
I guess obviously that would be linked to interest rates as well, because obviously if you're a business getting a loan, or
including economic productivity and even spending and investment decisions by households, communities, and businesses. Working together, these 3 key Fed entities and the unique Federal Reserve System structure established by Congress more than a century ago.
You have to keep unemployment at a certain level. I think that's true as well, obviously, because if there's like 100% employment, then like who's gonna invest in anything new? Yeah.
Help promote conditions resulting in a strong, healthy, and sustainable economy.
And also you need to keep the price of labor down.
For more information on how the Fed functions, visit federalreserve.gov and click on About the Fed.
Okay, cute.
One new job right there. True. But also that's one layoff plus a new job. So I think it cancels itself out. Next month's jobs report, 1 million jobs. You love it. You love to see it. America's hot.
We then spend the last hour of the stream on 2 separate Fox and Friends interviews with TikTok influencers who give male fashion advice and female dating advice respectively. And then the stream ends. Day 1 over. What did we learn? What did we learn?
Whoa, shit. We learned that Democrats are corrupt, Israel are Nazis, green books. Okay.
Claudette Colvin was born September 5th, 1939 in Montgomery, Alabama.
Crazy.
While in high school, she joined the NAACP Youth Council, where she would meet another Montgomery native, Rosa Parks.
Wait, pre-watch.
All right, another day. Let's get...
Wait, was that just like a little tidbit in the Quentin Tarantino style? Okay. Nice. Does she come? She comes back. Yeah, okay.
Sit the lawn.
Hey, I see what you did. Hey. Nice one.
Okay, what's going on today?
I watched the first episode of King of the Hill. It was all right.
He's going to debate Charlie Kirk.
Dartmouth, where I'm going to be debating Charlie Kirk.
And apparently Epstein had a photo with Castro. He's really disappointed about that.
How the fuck does he have a photo with Fidel, bro? This hurts. This hurts so much more. This hurts so much more than Chomsky. Hated some of y'all's faves are going to be implicated. Like,
first news story: Sarah Huckabee Sanders visits the Western Wall.
Literally, this is the one thing about Judaism that I do not know. Like, I mean, I've learned deep lore on this broadcast about Sukkot, about the citrus, about the stick and the tent. It's just the holy wall. I don't know. Wait, what the fuck? You don't know either? How do you not know?
Bro, wait, you don't know what the wall is? The Western Wall? Wait. That's not like he's not doing like I can easily believe that he is that ignorant that he doesn't know why Jews care about the Western Wall, the Second Temple and shit. Is there like something underlying that? Because obviously if you go into like PLO or Hamas territory or like Islamic or like Pan-Arab territory, then the Second Temple is fake, right? That's their whole thing, that there's no temple underneath the Haram al-Sharif. It's like doesn't exist, so it's quite difficult to negotiate the Temple Mount with like the PLO or Hamas because they don't think it's real. Is he just doing that? And obviously like the Ottoman Empire, which was based for Muslim-Jewish relations, they didn't let Jews go there for like hundreds of years. How would you not know that? It's been 2 years, bro. Actually, 10 years that Hassan's pretended to have cared about this. What?
You're Jewish. Why do Christians go there and like cry and stuff? I'm gonna be real. It's not much. It's the outside wall of the Second Temple. This is the Temple Mount, mega holy, great place to pray.
How has he been doing commentary on Israel-Palestine for so long and he doesn't know about the Western Wall? It's one of the main points of contention and negotiations for the two-state solution.
Yeah. It's just the wall, man. Calm down. Like politicians are doing the classic like
Can we say that about Al-Aqsa? It's just a mosque, bro. It's just a building with stuff in it. Excuse me. Get over it. What? IDF raid? It's just a fucking building, mate. Just any old building. Excuse me? What?
Going to Israel to show how fucking to show how much we love Israel routine. That's it.
Okay, an hour and 20 minutes in, actual news. Trump is on the roof.
Oh, he's getting up there.
Doesn't do any invest.
Just a rock. Why did we gotta build a fancy dome on it? It's just a rock, mate. It's just a fucking rock. Why does it need a big golden dome? It's just a rock. You know, one thing I don't know. The stone that the dome of the rock is built around. Can you actually, like, is the rock, can you see it? Or is it buried? Is it underneath? No, you can see it. Okay. Yeah, so when you're in the dome of the rock, you see the rock. Okay, cute. What is this picture? Like the lid comes off and you put the rock in it. Cute. It's just a rock. It literally is just a...
Investigating just thinks it's funny.
Do a flip!
Anything about the dementia-addled president who's killing millions of people around the world by cutting USAID and facilitating the genocide in Gaza needs more scrutiny? No? Okay. But Trump and Harris were the same.
What is this? It follows 2014?
Epstein comes up. That's a problem squarely on Trump, right? No, Republicans are subpoenaing Democrats, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. He spends the majority of time on them instead, thinking it's funny.
Bill Clinton can do the funniest thing. I'm just saying. Take it all down, baby. Come on. Come on. Mutually assured pedophilia destruction.
He's upset that Cory Booker doesn't want to endorse Zohran Mamdani.
He had no issues pumping Mayor Adams. This is all about pumping.
Cory Booker did not endorse Eric Adams. The only Senate endorsement he received was Chuck Schumer. Okay.
Mayor Adams. This is all about Israel. 100%.
And we're back to Israel because he's
corrupt.
Does
he just make everything about Israel now? Everything? I guess, because if you can find an AIPAC donation in any politician, then just forget who else is donating to them. Yeah, I guess so. Fuck. What is it? I can't remember where I watched or read this, but there's the whole thing about how anti-Semitism, like, how it just becomes an obsession. Like you just see, you can tell with the anti-Semites that they just see Jewish influence everywhere. God. I would actually be interested to see, because you can't really catch it in the clips industry, but it'd be interesting to see how much of Hassan's content now is just kind of like both sidesing Republicans and Democrats, or if anything, even just like enjoying the shit that Republicans throw at Democrats, like enemy of my enemy.
Because of AIPAC.
And Israel is not even just about Israel. Israel is about democracy. AIPAC money is consequential. It is important, especially at a time like this. In late recording, Cory Booker says he and AIPAC president text message back and forth like teenagers. AIPAC is simply a representation, tip of the iceberg, in terms of how pervasive Israeli lobbying efforts are and how pervasive Israeli influence is in American politics.
This is Professor John Mearsheimer. He's a political science professor at the University of Chicago. In 2007, he wrote a book called The Israel Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy, which was about the Israel lobby and U.S. foreign policy. The argument of the book is that Israel leads American foreign policy in the Middle East at America's expense. Not quite Mossad did 9/11, but it's still pretty inflammatory. Today, he's going to tell us about the Greater Israel Project. Greater Israel is the idea that Israel has a religious compulsion to conquer the land from the Nile River in Egypt to the Euphrates in Syria and Iraq, along with the entirety of Lebanon and a large chunk of Saudi Arabia. This is despite the fact that Israel hasn't done any conquering, even with its projection of military force. Israel has gone into Lebanon multiple times and left. It gave Egypt the Sinai for peace. Jordan administers Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. And despite bombing Syria, the IDF has actively removed Israelis who have tried to set up settlements across the border. This does not make West Bank settlements minor in comparison, nor is it excusable for the way that it has made reconciliation needlessly harder. The point is that it lacks historical evidence that Israel's plan has been to rip up...
That's another thing I've noticed from reading about early 1900s Zionist Arab relations is that this accusation has been made from like day one. It's basically from day one, opponents of Zionism would claim that they were planning on conquering like all of yeah. I think Palestine to Iraq was a big one. That would be here, by the way. That's a long ways away. Iraq's big country. It's like 40 million people in there. There was one Zionist author who actually suggested going to build settlements east of the Jordan River because that was a sparsely populated area in the hope that it would just draw the other immigrants over there because it was like fairly undisturbed. I wonder if that might have been a better idea.
Peace agreements with its neighbors and start a war on 5 fronts, with manpower it doesn't have, to seize territory it cannot hold, with military aid it won't get, unless he thinks that the US would be willing to help with that because of the Israel lobby. So we're going to listen to this guy talk about Greater Israel, okay? Where is he talking about this?
Tucker Carlson, hey.
We spend 2 hours listening to Tucker Carlson's podcast, Uncritically. Hassan will tell you that Tucker is a fascist.
Tucker Carlson is not an ally, and I will explain to you why over and over again.
He'll just also tell you he agrees with everything they're talking about.
Everything from here on out, he's cooking with gas. He's 100% correct.
And not once will he ever consider putting those two thoughts together. Remember that?
Yeah, it's just a total coincidence that I think this guy, Tucker Carlson, is a Nazi, but I agree with him on the Jews. This Nazi is right about one thing, and it's the Jews. Oh, God.
One time Tucker Carlson had on...
Adolf Hitler is firing off radio broadcasts, giving speeches, trying to get the message to these people that Germany does not want to fight you. Churchill wanted a war. I don't begrudge him that.
This is serial doxer, harasser, and all-around awful human being, Bad Empanada.
Hey. Stupid name, stupid humans.
The noted terrorist, Menachem Begin, whose name I surely mispronounced, but I mean, modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
Hassan won't correct that.
This is total bullshit as well. I remember hearing this talking point. I think the first time I heard it was from Jewish Voice for Peace, because they had this whole thing about trying to disincentivize Israeli Jewish members, or even just like diaspora Jewish members, from speaking Hebrew in front of Arabs because it would traumatize them. The idea, obviously, that that it was just kind of like constructed in the 19th century to justify colonialism or whatever. That's just not true. Hebrew was spoken amongst the diaspora when they didn't have any other common language for hundreds of years. It never died as a language. And even in Palestine, of all places, in the early to mid 1800s, you would have British consuls and European consuls talking about how when Ashkenazi Jews were immigrating there in very small numbers, how would they talk to Ottoman Jews? They didn't speak Arabic to them. They spoke Hebrew. They spoke Hebrew, right? Jews would learn Hebrew as part of their religious or cultural education. When they talk about the language being constructed, there were like modifications made, obviously, but this happened with every language. Like how many languages, especially at the onset of the nation state, that's kind of like the first time when they started printing dictionaries and started like generalizing their language across education systems, say with like France or unification of Germany with teaching German, or like with the English dictionaries in the 1800s when they first came out. Like, yeah, this standardization of grammar and kind of like making a decision on something. This was done across all these different languages. It was the same with modern Hebrew. Like that's what they. It's not like they just resurrected it from the fucking grave like Latin or some shit and just made a bunch of people start speaking it. Like it was already quite a significant part of Jewish culture, especially if they were interacting with other Jews who didn't share their mother tongue language, like with their nations or their host nation's language. That's why, and it's not even that different. That's why Israelis don't have a very hard time. Like people who speak modern Hebrew don't have a very hard time reading Hebrew text from over 2,500 years ago.
Little obvious anti-Semitic tidbit, but his chat certainly seems to like it. But he will correct one thing.
Ronald Reagan was an extremely Trumpish president. He was just better on camera than Trump is, because he was an actor and Trump isn't. And
Wrong! Donald Trump is a TV guy as well, and that's the reason why he's very telegenic and very charismatic. I disagree with Bad Empanada.
Hey, nobody's seen anything like it, even though they've done it twice before. And in a certain way, it almost looks like they've abandoned the state. It looks very bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Zoomer NPR, everyone. Oh my God, we're finally done with Tucker. I have no more energy. Now we're at RFK banning mRNA vaccines, which is really, really bad.
Oh my God. Am I crazy? Isn't mRNA research like literally working to cure cancer? A Jeffrey Epstein associate is molesting the field of...
Go from RFK ending what might be one of the biggest public health advancements since the inception of modern vaccines, back to being happy because Trump is going after Adam Schiff.
Oh my God.
Part of that is...
Oh my God. Senator Adam Schiff under federal criminal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud violations. Oh my God, I hope they arrest him. Oh my God, I hope he goes to prison. Yeah, this is political. Sure, I don't care. Lock him up. Lock him up. I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice. This motherfucker got like $6 million from AIPAC. Shifty Schiff.
He reads the full Trump social media post about Schiff. Then he reads another full Trump tweet, this time about the Doge kid named Big Balls getting mugged, and completely glosses over the part where Trump talks about federalizing DC because of a fact he finds out about the attackers.
One of them is a girl?
Wait, what are these summaries? The summaries are great.
A girl?
Man. Disrespecting Ben Yehuda. Ben Yehuda said some weird shit. Sorry. Israel wants territory with no capacity to maintain it, and they're Nazis, of course. Western Wall. He did learn that the Western Wall is part of the Second Temple, and that's why it's important. He did learn that. We had some education stream. Well done, Hassan. Trump abusing power worth it to hurt Dems.
Claudette Colvin used the buses in Montgomery to get to school and back home. The buses back then were segregated, meaning that if a white passenger boarded, they were given priority for the front of the bus, and black passengers had to go to the back. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette was riding home when a white passenger boarded and she was told to move. She refused, and so the bus driver called the police and she was arrested. 9 months later, Rosa Parks would be arrested for the same offense.
Hey! Wait, this is a Learner Box viewer? Damn, where did they learn that? Where did they learn that? Not that it's a very important part of American history, but I'm just going to assume they got it from my video. Wow, it's fine. Public domain, after all.
Alright, what fresh hell awaits me today? So he begins with streamer and YouTube drama. I don't care, you don't care, let's not care together. He calls out Twitter as a Nazi site, which he continues to use.
Then you got Elon Musk buying Twitter and then making Twitter into this like fucking neo-Nazi breeding ground. So now people are just like, oh, I don't like...
Why is he against Kick? Why is he against people streaming on Kick if he still uses Twitter, which is a neo-Nazi breeding ground?
Someone, let's dox them, let's swat them, let's go after their whole fucking family. And it's basically turning the entirety of discourse into this like incredibly fucked process.
Yeah, he says the country Georgia,
I'm not very familiar with Georgia,
wants to join the EU because they're Christian, but they look Turkish, so they get the anti-Turkish racism and not the anti-Slav Polish racism.
Georgians look fucking Turkish.
Okie dokie then. I feel like there's some backstory here he could elaborate on to not make that seem like a bizarre tangent.
You know?
But instead, we look at an article in the New Republic about Hassan. He says the media hits about him are coming because the media was objectively wrong about the election and not because he's paying for PR.
No, it's probably because public perception on Israel-Palestine.
And Israel. How could I forget? Once again, we almost get to the news, but we are sidetracked back to Twitter for a Fox News video about an ICE raid.
There is no real democratic process here.
That's
Zoomer NPR readers, those 18-year-olds who daily digest NPR and are a bit bored of it and want something a bit more rough around the edges. They yearn for the terrorism.
It's going to be a new theme here.
Companies don't actually care about any of this shit either. They never cared about woke.
Quick aside about companies not caring about woke. You might think rainbow capitalism is a cheap ploy to get public sentiment on the side of corporations so you'll buy stuff. And you're right. It's also a good thing that public sentiment is on the side of inclusivity and empathy to the point that it would make people feel motivated enough to buy stuff, which, if you believe we live in a hyper-consumer society, would be the highest form of love.
And I said that at the time. I was like, this is all fake bullshit anyway.
Finally, we reached the news.
We're going to start off with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Fuck me, we're back to Twitter. So that he can call Trump powerful for punishing corporations.
He'll just be like, I'm revoking your federal contracts.
He criticizes the Trump administration for prioritizing ICE over the affordability crisis.
The fucking affordability crisis.
He says America could be a force for good.
I mean, it always sucked, but it never sucked this hard. America could be a force for good.
And uses China as a comparison.
Like China does this, China does that. China has like incredible social repression. And then refusing to look at any of the good things that the Chinese government has done. High-speed rail, constant focus on like developing American infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Force for good equals infrastructure. Infrastructure.
Biden did.
Infrastructure. Excuse me, I need to go do something.
On the things that we fantasize China is doing with regular frequency, some of which it is doing, and many others it's not even doing that we're doing here.
Okay, I'm back. And now we've actually finally reached the news.
Ghislaine Maxwell, who is definitely a trustworthy individual, by the way. Trump could just be like, I'm innocent. I told Ghislaine Maxwell to literally say I'm innocent. What comes of that? The only way that there would be movement in a positive direction on this issue is if like people got so mad that he like openly admitted this, that there were fucking riots on the streets and his base was participating in the riots. It would not be because the Democrats have pushed for like an impeachment or some shit like that. We only have one another. You have no trust in liberal institutions. I mean, I want to trust them, but how can
sure
you?
You do.
And
I'm sure you're desperate to trust liberal institutions. Just so you know, you trust liberal institutions every day, right? When you made the transaction to get that fucking mansion that you live in, when you use your car, like you trust liberal institutions every day. When you use Twitch, like when you take all these fucking super chats in, you're trusting these are liberal institutions that do this, Hassan. You've kind of chosen to live and stay in the country that does liberal institutions more than like anywhere else, really.
Democrat Party's complacency.
They talked about Texas Dems leaving the state in the clip you were watching not even 10 minutes ago. Weren't you listening? Oh yeah, I guess not.
Corruption has always existed in American politics. When you let go of the aesthetic, all of a sudden people are like, well, wait a minute, this is fucking criminal. This is a criminal enterprise. What the hell's going on? And people get mad.
A chatter actually calls him out for his both sidesing. And what's his response?
You are becoming a smaller and smaller sliver of society. Like the idea that this was somehow the left's responsibility. Like, no, actually the left was pushing the Democrats to fight. Myself.
Pin the vid link. Wow, okay. There you go. I was going to do it at the end, actually, but, because we haven't fully reviewed the video yet. We don't know if the rest is going to be shit. But okay.
Included in this. Look at the Democrats now. They're not fighting.
Democrats who left the state.
That's why people voted for Trump, because they wanted change.
He was already president once, Hassan. Why do you think the cheers at Harris rallies were for "we're not going back"? The framing of this moment is so perfect.
They have no dream of a better tomorrow. They have no design for a well-functioning society that actually does right by every single American. So they don't communicate that at all. You're just the lighter version of Republicans. Great. I don't want that. We know Jeffrey Epstein might be related to foreign...
We'll take a lighter version of the CCP, though. Oh, God. We're going to make Epstein about Israel? Oh, for fuck's man.
Intelligence, but it's certainly not Chinese, okay? The foreign intelligence that Jeffrey Epstein is associated with is Israeli intelligence?
For the last 10 years, Republicans have been hyping themselves up on QAnon conspiracy theories of a secret government pedophile ring, and now the left is doing the same thing. Fantastic. We watch Mark Maron, talks about Austin, Texas, calling Californians who move there the Israelis of Americans.
Californians are really the Israelis of America? True. 24 karat gold, le baby.
I mean, if you want to play that line, Americans are the Israelis of America. Like, it's just for some reason that you think that like you don't really kick up too much of a fuss about destroying that country, even though lots of things that people like Hassan say about Israel actually is true about America. Like, they did build colonies, like actual colonies where they extracted wealth from the land for the mother country, which was the United Kingdom. Like, that's what they did. Yeah, it was an imperialist expansion fucking movement. Like, that's what it was. Those settlers didn't need to be there. They weren't fleeing for their lives.
It's gross. It's so perfect for Trump. You say, is this a fucking W for the admin or a W for the country?
We lost them if we had
it depends. Only time will tell. We're ruining the remaining water supply. We're just poisoning people. We're fucking burning the planet to the ground so that people can make so people can jerk off to grok.
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous.
It really seems like he should have more qualms about an authoritarian attempting to unilaterally seize territory, but...
I will defend big balls. I will defend his balls. I will defend him against unruly teenagers who beat his ass.
And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
Trump calls his connection to a known sex trafficker bullshit. In the Oval Office, mind you. Hassan says nothing because he's not listening.
Tim Cook.
Now we're on to the story of a Utah state senator.
It's so crazy how, if you're like one of those more left-wingers who's not really that interested in policy, like you do like the slot politics and the fanfare, the showbiz and all that, like this is the perfect story for you to attack the Republicans, right? The fact that you've got this ultimate conspiracy theory bait with Trump and all the weird shit that he said about Epstein over the years. The fact that at one time Trump said that Epstein's parties were weird, just ask Prince Andrew. Before the Prince Andrew story broke, Trump actually said that. That's on, you can find that online. You've got like this whole thing that you can build up to do like this really populist left anti-Republican slop. But yeah, he didn't give a fuck, does he? He doesn't give a shit. It's just, it's funny because they're subpoenaing the Clintons. Wow. Well done, buddy.
Who's trying to change the age of consent.
Seriously. Yeah, wait, hang on. Trump, just ask Prince Andrew. Quite an old one.
Comments made by Donald Trump on Prince Andrew have resurfaced just weeks before the president is due to meet the Duke of York's brother, King Charles, and the royal family during his second state visit to the UK. Donald Trump said to ask Prince Andrew when questioned about Jeffrey Epstein's cesspool private island.
He called Prince Andrew a lot of fun, according to a republished story from People in 2000. Yeah, let's see. See when the date of this.
Donald Trump once described Jeffrey Epstein's private Caribbean island as a cesspool, saying, "There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it." The comment has resurfaced.
I think this was in the Telegraph in 2015. This is way before the Andrew story.
Just weeks before the president is due to meet the Duke of York's brother, King Charles, and the royal family during his second state visit to the UK. Trump's remarks have taken on new significance as the U.S. president furiously attempts to...
There's a clip. Where's the clip? Bombshell audio.
He is charming. He is able to convince people. So he tells everybody what they want to hear.
So how do you know this?
That was close to straight.
He has a sense of humor.
This video is disingenuous. Hassan was not agreeing with Tucker. He was agreeing with Mearsheimer. Okay, Pisco brain. Pisco, locking in. Do you think Tucker agrees with Mearsheimer? Does Tucker disagree with Mearsheimer on anything he said about the Israel lobby? Yes or no? 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 Just listen, you agree with fascists on the Jews, on quite a few things. It's just, that's your conundrum. You can deal with it. You can find a way around it. It's just a fact. What's this? No, I don't need that.
Be funny. Right. His ability to sell. It's very much like Clinton. Both Bill and Donald have the ability to go over to a fat, ugly woman, say, you are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So you probably know he had a scalp reduction. Because he had the same male pattern model that we all have. But he's not even
This is not the right clip, is it? Where's the fucking... Bro.
He does nasty things to his best friends' wives. Anyone who first tries to gain your trust and then uses it to do bad things. That's how he goes. He is charming.
Okay, where is the videos? Let's see. Videos? Epstein's Island is a cesspool.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
See, look, you can tell he's quite full around his features. He's filled out quite nicely in this. He's got more hair. This is from 2015. He said this about Prince Andrew.
He'll tell you about it. It was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
Yeah.
So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends
Well,
of
I
yours.
can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
And then when the story broke out, 2019, he shuffled a little bit. Think about the amount of fucking blue on you could get from someone like Hassan from a story like this, but I guess he's just not interested.
Mr. President, do you have a comment on Prince Andrew stepping down from his royal duties?
On who?
Prince Andrew stepping down from his royal duties.
No, I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story. It's a very tough story. I don't know. No.
And he also knew the fucking girl, Virginia Giuffre, who had been recruited from Mar-a-Lago to go and work for Epstein.
Island was an absolute cesspool. That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
Wow. Don't know the guy, eh? Donald!
To help one of his family members who was charged with
These
pedophilia.
motherfuckers are real demons, bro. I fucking
So apparently,
Listen, I'm just asking questions. That's all.
a Republican demon is helping a family member get away with pedophilia, but a Democrat demon is doesn't build trains. And now let's get ready for all of that Republican criticism to leave the viewer's mind because we've reached everybody's favorite topic. I just want to point out how gross it is that he's not paying attention to a video about starving Gazan children as he eats.
Tempers flare on the streets of Tel Aviv.
Oh god, he's just chomping away.
Okay, bro.
The person Hassan just flipped off is Ehud Olmert, who served as Israel's prime minister from 2006 to 2000.
I need to call him Olmert. I don't know what this French, whatever. It's Olmert. It's just Olmert. Okay.
9. So right after the Second Intifada. And even he is saying Israel is committing war crimes and that the war needs to end. But Hassan brushes him off as well.
Israel literally doing the final solution in broad daylight. And you got the most aggressive critic of Benjamin Netanyahu still trying to save face for some indecipherable reason. Just be honest, man, that it's not even...
For some indecipherable reason. Why would that surprise you? Olmert left the Likud party to join Kadima, and because he didn't agree with the path that Netanyahu and the Likud party was on, he literally left in real time when he was a politician. Yes, that's what Olmert did. That's what he's known for. He's known for offering the peace deal to Abbas, the last ever final settlement that was ever offered to the Palestinians in 2008. That was from Olmert.
Just about Israel any longer. It is about democracy. The Israeli military officials, the generals, were routinely saying there is no military solution to Hamas. There is no military solution to Hamas. We cannot militarily defeat Hamas.
Further evidence of Israeli Nazism is generals publicly disagreeing with their leader's intended military campaign.
Hamas is just an idea. Palestinian sovereignty. Yeah, Fred Hampton said it best. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution.
It's just using a figure who was left-wing and explicitly non-violent to launder a right-wing, theocratic, authoritarian group's mission is just really gross.
The term anti-Semite...
Was Fred Hampton non-violent? I don't think Fred Hampton was non-violent. Fred Hampton was like a panther, wasn't he? I don't think Fred Hampton was non-violent. You can't kill a revolution. You can't... That's not how it works, buddy. You can't just call a military and a government not least of all an Islamic fundamentalist, extremist, terrorist one, you can't just call them a revolution and that just makes them fucking invincible. You can't do that, okay?
Not having a serious consequential impact any longer has allowed actual fucking virulent anti-Semites to become major propagandists, engaging in reputation laundering.
I didn't expect Hassan to make my argument for me.
Fucking farm the table, baby. That's right. Locally grown, organic bathtub RPGs that they fucking use on the Israeli tank. Electronic Intifada does a assessment report every fucking day almost. I, of course, can't play them on the broadcast.
Nothing to see here, just Zoomer NPR casually telling his audience where to find videos of Hamas putting together booby traps to ambush IDF soldiers along with footage of the subsequent attacks.
It is literally not only the legal thing for the Palestinians to do, which is to smoke
this
the Israeli...
fucking faux legal analysis is so fucking annoying. Oh my God. How does no one in his sphere call this out? Like, I feel like back when I used to hear Destiny saying something silly or whatever else, like you would comment on it. You know, if I heard Destiny talking about fucking cookie rockets, you'd comment on it, right? Where is the pushback to this idea that you think like Houthis or Hamas's actions are legal? It's so stupid. It's so fucking dumb. Not that you care. Why are you pretending to care what's legal and what's not? God. You're a fucking communist revolutionary. Why do you care about what international law made by liberal institutions? Why do you care what they say? Oh, because you're just weaponizing them for your cynical ends. I see.
The occupying force soldiers that are sitting inside of their fucking armored personnel carriers, okay, that are currently conducting a fucking ethnic cleansing campaign. It is also the moral thing for them to do. The double Monty, both legal.
So this guy thinks is the moral thing that Hamas keeps fighting. He's in tune with the fuck the protesters who are saying that we are so fucking done with this. Like, why are you still holding on to the hostages? What are you hoping to achieve? Like, what is 2 more years or 2 more weeks or a month or 3 months or whatever of keeping this shit going, doing for anyone in Gaza? And they're just like, yeah, no, keep doing it. Fuck it. Because as long as we just call it resistance in a completely abstract fucking vacuum, feels good. It's okay. But yeah, maybe hold out for another couple of weeks and maybe a couple more countries will recognize Palestine in the General Assembly and devote no efforts to it at all to actually realizing that vision.
And moral.
But that doesn't absolve the fact that October 7th was horrific. That doesn't absolve the fact of what happened to those kibbutzes.
You just genuinely don't think Palestinians are human beings. Even if you have a fucking Palestinian niece, okay, you must not think that your Palestinian niece is a human. If you are still talking about October 7, you just want to give permission to Israel to do the genocide, but you're too ashamed.
If you're talking about October 7th, do you know who else doesn't stop talking about October 7th? Is the Hamas. They don't stop talking about October 7th. To this day, Hamas leaders will refer to October 7th as the glory, like Al-Aqsa flood still continues. To this day, that's how they see it. They see Al-Aqsa flood continues because just because they're not winning militarily anymore doesn't mean they're not watching Israel get absolutely fucking battered on the world stage by all these countries like turning their backs on them diplomatically, not really in any physical sense, but just putting out statements to the General Assembly. The amount of resolutions, the amount of human rights reports, the amount of condemnations, or the amount of countries recognizing, like to Hamas, it's still ongoing. They're still fighting. They still think it's part of the same process. They're still telling their people, yeah, hang in there, guys. Keep on chugging. Keep on taking the airstrikes while we sit in the fucking tunnels underneath your houses. Keep on taking it. You know, it's all going somewhere. What was this one? This was one of the leaders in Qatar on his Facebook page. If death is inevitable, then it's a disgrace to die a coward. Okay. Wow. You don't think Palestinians are humans if you still talk about October 7th. Meanwhile, these guys will still fucking yap about like the Deir Yassin massacre. Like, okay. But you can't talk about October 7th? What the fuck?
To stand 10 toes down and say it. I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than what the fuck is going on currently.
The transphobic joke is a nice touch.
She actually went through gender confirmation. Yeah, Sargon of Mossad.
Next, we watch a video of a guy asking people if they're Hassan fans. This takes 45 minutes. Then we're on to a video about drama with the YouTuber Mudahar. Then Chris Cuomo thinking AI AOC is A-OK. And finally, it's over. What did I learn today? That migraines hurt a lot. I'm going to go lie down and think on my sins.
This is Democrats up here, corrupt and ineffective.
Birmingham, Alabama was referred to by Martin Luther King Jr. as the most segregated city in America. Efforts at nonviolent protest against the city's segregation culminated in the 1963 Children's Crusade, when nonviolent student protesters were met with high-pressure fire hoses and attack dogs at the behest of City Commissioner of Public Safety, Eugene Bull Connor.
The Bull. The Dixiecrat. He was a Democrat. He was a Dixiecrat back in the day when you had the Southern Democrats who were total fucking racists. Bull Connor.
Day 4. Alright, I know the song can't get any worse. I don't care. I don't care.
Mr.
I don't
Beast
care.
is confirmed to be a Mossad PSYOP plant.
An American who served in the IDF had their car torched. He assumes that Israel planted the story to get sympathy.
I assume that they thought that they could get Israel could get good coverage out of this. It's so dumb. There is no power on the left. There is no institutional representation for the left.
He watches an interview with Mike Huckabee. I see we're getting to Israel earlier this stream.
I mean, this is a true religious zealot. First of all, he's the ambassador to Israel, not Jewish, evangelical Christian. Important to notice. Important to mention. This is the real backbone of the unconditional support to Israel's genocide. There are edge cases. There are Ultra-Zionist Jews in this country, certainly, okay? And they fund the Trump campaign. Some of them also fund Democrats as well. You got AIPAC, all this shit. These guys are the real base for pro-Israel politics in this country.
And now Fox News interviews Netanyahu. I'm sure this is going to be an extremely productive use of Hassan's time.
Oh, brother. Oh, my Lord.
It's all the same stuff he's already been saying.
This is illegal, by the way, under international law. Everything Israel does is illegal. Israel is an illegal entity, okay? Every single
according
day.
to what? Hassan, what? It's an illegal entity. What? No, it's not. It's a recognized UN member state. It has a right to defend itself under the UN Charter, Chapter 51 or whatever the fuck. Like, are you... Oh, God. Holy shit. An illegal entity. Okay. God, I love it. Let's just invent international law. Why not? Based. Illegal entity. Teuton! Where is he? I need a Hassan defender to justify this for me. It's an illegal entity. Really? You're going to nitpick at like some fucking... What apparently he was praising Mearsheimer, not Tucker Carlson, even though Tucker Carlson was agreeing with everything Mearsheimer said in that interview. Let's leave aside that technicality. Can we justify this? An illegal entity? Why? Why are you just making shit up? Why? Why? Fuck me.
He behaves like a man who's caught fucking children. Okay, in the archives of like Unit 8200's basement or something. As I've said over and over again, there is no real democracy.
8200, is that Mossad or is that Shin Bet? I actually don't know. Or is it completely separate to both of them? It's neither. It's the Central Collection Unit of the Intelligence Corps. Okay, cute.
In America. Reservists are killing themselves with regular frequency because they're like, we killed too many children and I can't deal with it any longer. I'm going to kill myself. And now...
soldiers killing themselves in war is like quite normal, actually. Like there's not that many situations where they don't do that. Okay.
Your numbers are diminishing. The enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. They also realize that when you do that baby murder and you then fucking fly out of Israel to go somewhere, people look at you and go, you were in the IDF? Oh, so you're a baby killer. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck?
We did something. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. Holy shit. Yo.
No army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the...
There was one army that did that. The Nazis. What is this? Mike from...
Holy shit. What, so the Nazis and the IDF are the only two armies who supplied humanitarian aid to their enemies? What? Does that mean they're better than the other two? What the fuck? No, what? Yeah. What? Also, in the siege of Leningrad, or when they were besieging these Soviet cities, they literally like tried to starve out the entire, like it was their plan to starve out the entire city. Like the siege of Leningrad and shit, like 1 million people died. Like nothing was, no food, nothing. was allowed in. Do you know who else did that? Hezbollah did that. Nothing allowed ever. Nothing.
PA just spent 5 hours apologizing for using the word demonic. Yeah, I'm not speaking on his situation, but the Israeli Defense Force is conducting a genocide. I'm not saying an entire ethnicity of people or even an entire nation of people are demonic or anything like that. So don't try to fucking slam words.
Kind of just did that. Oh, is he disavowing Mike from PA? Oh no. Poor Mike.
Words into my mouth. The enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck? Overseas, but are worried about their safety. Recommendation include: don't make your Israeli identity obvious. Don't wear shirts with Hebrew, and think twice before walking with a kippah or tzitzit, garments that are worn by religious males. Don't tell strangers that you're Israeli or Jewish. Don't post your travel plans on social media or revealing information / post about your trip in real time.
Ew.
I'll leave you with just one question. Is there any country that needs to warn its citizens to hide their identity when traveling overseas? There is currently, as it stands, okay, there are countries that I suspect do this. Russians probably, to a certain degree, do this. Americans also experience a level of shame, so they will claim that they're...
Isn't that the guy that, can't stop eating cornflakes and also refusing accountability? Good to see you streaming, M8. Also, wow.
Wow, thanks for $10. Really appreciate that, TV. Thanks so much. Don't forget the goal, guys. We've got 1 hour left in the goal. The goal needs a lot of fuel right now, okay? Come on. Empty your fat ox bellies into my bowl.
Canadian or whatever, but you're doing a genocide. Like, what do you mean? Of course there is going to be enmity. Of course there is going to be anger and resentment.
Hassan completely misses that visible traits listed would only prove that a person is Jewish. Oh, the kippah, yeah.
Are a Nazi country doing a Holocaust in real time and simultaneously crying about how anti-Semitic people are for not letting you do your...
I really want to dig into why where this Holocaust inversion shit came from, because there are so many atrocities that have been committed in the last 75 years that have been so much worse than anything Israel's done. And you never see this obsessive, like compulsive Holocaust comparison ever come up for any of them. I've never heard someone talk about, like, to this degree, the way people talk about Bosnia or even Rwanda or anything. How many people come at, like, or even Syria? How many times do you hear like this level of obsessive fucking Holocaust weaponization? People do it for the Nakba, a war which lasted like almost a year. And I think the number of people who died on the Arab side was like, what, 10,000? Maybe less? It was between 8 and 12,000, I think, roughly, depending on whose estimates you go with. Civilians were 800. Well, in the Nakba, the amount of people killed in the massacres was 800, roughly, yeah. But in the whole war, including militants, it was like 10,000, which compared to conflicts of those sizes in that time is not many. It's not many at all. Even the Arabs didn't kill that. Like the Israel-Palestine conflict, just compared to even bordering countries, even the fucking Phalangists, who actually did take influence from Spanish fascists, even them, I don't see them get compared to Nazis as often as Israelis do. The Lebanese civil war estimated 150,000 fatalities. I think Israel-Palestine is maybe just about overtaken that now with Gaza. And that was a civil war that lasted 15 years. So in about 100 and something years of fighting since 1881, Israel-Palestine has just about overtaken Lebanon. They are probably never going to overtake Syria, at least in the near future. And those are two countries that border Israel, but the Nazi shit just doesn't come up like to this degree ever. Why?
Holocaust with loud cheers. The fuck? Of course people are going to be like, you're Israeli? Oh, gross. The fuck do you mean? What is the expectation here? Is the expectation here that like people just like cheer when they hear that you're, that you're
Israeli-Palestinian? They could be Druze. They could be Druze as well, but I guess they're also complicit, right? Yeah.
You're coming from the country that is now most known for baby killing? What the fuck? If you want to do reputation laundering, you have to tell the Israelis that we hear from on a daily fucking basis to stop saying Hitlerian shit in Hebrew, okay?
But you call them Hitlerian even when they want the war to end. Even when they oppose the government and the military campaign, you still call them Nazis. Your chat still calls them Nazis en masse. Bro.
Obviously, first and foremost, if there was a tremendous number
in Israel
of
too,
Israelis,
on the streets
specifically
of Tel Aviv,
Israeli Jews, that were literally on the
heading
streets,
into Hamas
actively
strongholds,
tampering the initiatives of the IOF, okay, it would be a little bit more defensible. But that doesn't even fucking exist. It's like marginal. Half of them are in this chat right now. It's fucking ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. All the indicators they warn about are religious or Hebrew.
Modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
For your sanity as well as mine, let's abridge this a smidge more.
Every defender of Israel has one speed. Overly litigious crybabies.
Implies Ezra Klein is racist for asking Mahmoud Khalil about October 7th.
I was, when people were like, oh, Ezra Klein interviewed Mahmoud Khalil, I was like, oh, he probably...
Is that a point of interest that apparently Mahmoud Khalil kind of supported October 7th? That doesn't mean it justifies deporting him or anything that Trump did to him. But yeah, if you're going to be a public figure talking about the conflict, it's probably interesting whether or not you support an attack that killed 1,200 people in one day. That's okay.
He didn't do the condom hummus shit at this point, right? It turns out, no, he did do that.
He gets excited about the decor for the UAE meeting with Putin, talking about the architecture and the table more than anything else.
Grandiose behavior and like massive halls and shit still kind of hits. You gotta have a weird fucking table.
And I don't want any questions about the table.
If you're gonna have a convo like this, it's gotta be on a table like that.
Tables!
I am anti-Putin. I do wish, however, we had like similar weird shit. Fancy ornaments that people literally fucking toiled away making and probably died in the process of building. Okay? That's what I mean. There's like a history associated with this.
We do have that in this country, Hassan. You're just not going to like the examples of it.
Your country has literally no history, no culture aside from Gunburger? No, I know.
We read an article about Ukrainian support for the war effort, and he calls Ukraine a fleshlight. That's
Continues
nice.
As a fleshlight. I didn't say that. You want to know why I didn't say that? Because I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty. Analysis. Putin's claim that war on Ukraine is the target Nazis is absurd. Here's why. What is this? This is my analysis too. It's so fucking stupid. I've never lent credence to Putin's idiotic claim that like he was denazifying Ukraine. Nothing to see here, just some Nazi solutions.
I mean, you did say that you did massively overstate the presence of the Azov battalion. You said they were going to rise to prominence because of the war. How did that go, buddy?
Today's Putin's
compared it to the fucking Mujahideen and then the Taliban following.
Had a claim that like he was denazifying Ukraine. Nothing to see here, just some Nazi solutions to today's football match in Rivne, Ukraine.
It's incredibly important, and somehow I feel like on the left, I don't know how this happened online. Maybe it's because
it's my other favorite male role model. Let's go.
We tend to be younger or whatever, but somehow the party's messaging apparatus, it feels like it's gotten hijacked from people. By people who...
Hassan proves Destiny's point here about the destructiveness of leftist influencers.
Till the Democratic Party changes and actually becomes an active fighting party, a party that actually cares about its citizens, a party that actually cares about its voters, a party that is actually predisposed with like improving people's lives.
After 45 minutes of Destiny, there's another 45 minutes of stream, but it's worthless fluff, and I want to do something productive to counterbalance the neurological atrophy I'm experiencing, so...
Your job is a grift, you do it well. I'm a grift engineer.
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around. Anything that brain of yours can think of can be found.
Fake nutting.
Mountains of content, some better, some worse.
Anally?
If none of it's of interest to you, you'd be the first.
Yeah.
Welcome to the internet. Come and take a seat. Would you like to see the news or any famous women's feet? There's no need.
What the fuck are you gonna do, bro?
This isn't a test.
I just don't get it.
Just nod or shake your head and we'll do the rest.
You're Jewish.
Welcome to the internet. What would you prefer? Would you like to fight for civil rights or tweet a racial slur? Be happy, be horny, be bursting with rage.
You racist piece of...
We got a million different ways to engage. Welcome to the...
Why did he call Ethan racist again? What was it? Was some really stupid context, wasn't it? It was because they were talking about the Iraqi Jews and why they were kicked out, why they were forced out of the country. And it was because of persecution from the government, primarily. Why did he say it was racist? Is it because the fucking Arabs? It was the fucking Arabs. Iraqis aren't Palestinian. Yeah, but what's that got to do with why Jews were forced out of the country? Okay. It doesn't make any sense. Man, that Avi Schlaim clip, oh God. I don't think... The problem with debates is like you need to actually like present your arguments in a way that like hammers home the fact that they just got called out. But I think the way that Ethan did that with the clip, like it didn't really land as well as it could have. But like people understand that like Hassan got absolutely fucking obliterated on that point. The fact that he tried to use some chopped up Avi Schlaim segment to make it seem like he was blaming the bombings on Jews leaving Iraq, even though Avi Schlaim actually says the complete opposite, that he also believes that the bombings that took place that he accuses Zionists of doing, that they all happened after the window for registering to leave had closed. As in, like, the overwhelming majority of Iraqi Jews had registered to leave or already left before any of those, like, quote, Zionist bombings even happened. Like, the guy got absolutely fucking trounced on that point. And I guess, like, no one in his community, like, noticed or cared. Yeah, embarrassing.
Internet, put your cares aside. Here's a tip for straining pasta. Here's a 9-year-old who died.
And Frank, Boy in the Heron. My dad, my mom, I freaking all
and a bunch of colored pencil drawings of all the different characters in Harry Potter fucking each other. Welcome to the internet.
America deserved 9/11.
A random guy just kindly sent you photos of his cock. They are grainy and off-putting. He just sent you more. Don't act surprised, you know you like it, you whore. See a man beheaded, get offended, see a shrink. Show us pictures of your children, tell us every thought you think. Start a rumor, buy a rumor, send a death threat to a boomer, or DM a girl and groomer, do a zoomer, find a tumor in your. Here's a healthy breakfast option. You should kill your mom. Here's why women never fuck you. Here's how you can build a bomb. Which Power Ranger are you? Take this quirky quiz. Obama sent the immigrants to fax.
The Ethiopian Jews? Yep, they love Israel. They vote for Netanyahu. Sorry.
Horrifying process of sterilization. 2018 Hamas charter actually dictates they want 1967 boundaries. Hamas wants a two-state solution.
No, they fucking don't. He's such a fucking liar, or he's retarded. I don't know. He's just okay. Hang on. It's not even ambiguous. You just have to know how to read. Hamas considers the establishment of a fully sovereign and independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital along the lines of 67, with the return of refugees and displaced to their homes, to be a formula of national consensus. You look at the top, though. This is the bit that people crop out. Hamas believes that no part of land of Palestine should be compromised or conceded, irrespective of the causes, the circumstances, and pressures, no matter how long the occupation lasts. Hamas rejects any alternative to the full and complete liberation of Palestine from the river to the sea. It's two states for now. It's two states for now. That's not a two-state solution. That's a two-state concession. It's a two-state ceasefire. Like they always say. God, he's so fucking retarded. Ugh.
Are the motherfuckers that have been trying to do peace? They are. They 100% are. Google the Hannibal Directive. Israel was originally founded as a national socialist state. You are a Nazi. Fucking Nazi.
A national socialist state.
All of the time.
You want to tell that people in Israel to go back to where they came from? This is where they're from. They were forced to go to Israel.
They could right now. They could go tomorrow.
Really? The Iraqi Jews can go back to...
I simply press your button and incinerator. They got a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds wearing sandals, running up to $30 million fucking pieces of equipment and dumping an IED in there, going, Kobe!
Hassan's constant usage of Nazi and Holocaust are not meant to evoke comparison and devastation. He specifically, intentionally, and provocatively invokes the Holocaust because of his relationship to Israel and Jewish pain to tear it out of the historical narrative of Israel as a justification for its founding and frame it as an excuse for its current war, and therefore retroactively apply the current war to the entirety of its history. He just wants Israel to be bookended by genocide, to say that its existence is a perpetual and unjustifiable crime, that it was a continuation of the Nazis and the Holocaust instead of it being the best means, least bad way for Jews to survive prior and in the aftermath. Well, only for about half of Jews. Only about half of them.
Anything and everything, all of the time. Could I interest you in everything?
Nazis, Nazi, and Nazis, Nazi-eyed Nazis, Nazis with the Nazis getting Nazi. Arabs are the same. It's a monolithic force of evil.
And all of the time.
I interviewed Hamas and they told me, I hate Jews. I hate Jews. I want to kill Jews, said Hamas. This is why people call me a disgusting anti-Semite.
Day 5. Come on, Hassan, hit me. Next. He's in Chicago today for the Democratic Socialist Convention to interview Rashida Tlaib.
We're here with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
This is the fucking t-shirt. It's the t-shirt that says Gaza is the graveyard of the occupier. That's what that says. Gaza is the graveyard of the occupier. In mid-2025, Gaza, it's a fucking joke, man. Like it's a joke to how can you say that when in your words, there's a genocide, all Gaza's flattened, 60,000 people are dead, starvation, and you're like, it's the graveyard of the occupier because they're putting IEDs on fucking APCs, and sometimes they cause damage. Like, it's fucking disgusting, man. It's like a sick joke. It's so fucking gross. Actual fucking meme ideology.
Wow, that was fast. It wasn't. It took an hour where nothing happens to get here. We just unironically watched someone's commute to work. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib represents Michigan's 12th district, which notably includes parts of Detroit and Dearborn. What are they going to talk about?
But the lack of really feeling like the party has their back.
Fantastic.
They wanted to campaign with...
You'd never imagine, the day after the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, what, they killed like one Nazi? Maybe? Did they even kill one? They injured a few. How many Nazis died in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? You know what? I'm a bit of a fool, really. Oh, 17 German casualties. No, 100 casualties, 17 killed, really? But that's reported by the SS brigades, so probably SS brigade commander. Let's see this. Ooh. Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Well, a bit over a dozen. The Warsaw Ghetto is the graveyard of the occupier. You know what? If people want to use Warsaw Ghetto Uprising comparisons, maybe you should. Yeah, just use them more often. Would you ever say that about the Warsaw Ghetto after the uprising? There was the graveyard of the occupier. Would you actually say that? And that would be in good taste. So that would be like a reflection of some kind of meaningful political ideology that isn't just a death cult. It's the same thing when people say that Gaza's the Warsaw Ghetto. It's like, but you also oppose Gazans leaving. Like you oppose Hamas surrendering because if they surrender, then the Gazans will just get kicked out. It's like, wait, you think it's a genocide happening right now? So if the Nazis went to Warsaw and said, yeah, surrender, whatever the fuck that means, they weren't fighting them for almost all of the time in the ghetto. But if they just said surrender and instead of killing you, we'll just deport you to Madagascar, would you not take that deal? Like, it's so fucking dumb. Yeah, if you want the Warsaw Ghetto comparisons, go full force with them. They're committing a genocide in Gaza, but also you can't let them leave because that would be ethnic cleansing. What?
Cheney.
Kamala did 3 campaign stops with Liz Cheney and gave no concessions in exchange. It was entirely about the importance of stopping Trump.
I mean, I watched them botch the minimum wage and botch environmental protections.
There were constantly like a revolving villain structure within the Democratic Party that would consistently spoil bills.
For some reason, one Democrat voting against something is evidence of conspiracy, but every Republican of voting against something is just praxis, I guess.
I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that there are people like me and others that don't take corporate PAC money. And, I'm not...
I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering, like, the centrist Democrats who...
President Biden produced more fossil fuels than any president prior.
He did. He also used that to push construction of more renewable energy sources than at any time previously, and to exclude that denies crucial context.
Democrats are really good about keeping power and trying to keep power, but not using power.
More shitting on Dems.
They don't give a shit about the Democratic base. The so-called, I know you call them centrists. I mean, they're Republican, like, folks within the Democratic caucus. I'm not...
I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering, like, the centrist Democrats.
Though unintentional, that answer is quite revealing about how she sees herself compared to the rest of the party. She's at the end of the horseshoe and she's just reaching across the aisle.
Israel's genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza.
Talib nods when Hassan says there's no democracy.
Because a lot of people are realizing, oh, there is no democracy at all. It doesn't matter what our voices, it doesn't matter how loud we yell.
First of all, there is no fucking strategy in genocide. Either you're against it or you're not.
Okay, but the strategy is how you stop the genocide.
I think that Ta-Nehisi Coates said it best.
Yeah.
If you can't trust them to stop a genocide, what makes you think that they'll save democracy here in America?
God, what a unbelievable like thought term. Like the amount of power that word has in just nuking any critical thought. It's like, oh yeah, we need to strategize to keep Republicans out for harm reduction, or we need to have a strategy for the Democrats to minimize harm in Israel-Gaza, to like influence the war in a way that doesn't actually like leave so many civilians dying. And they're like, where is the strategy in a genocide? It's like, you're so fucking dense, man. Like there's no. It's like they're almost like bragging about the fact that they don't think about anything. Like, fuck.
I think democracy is not the job of politicians. It's the job of the electorate. Every time people...
By the way, if this fucking Mr. Baby Potato Head fucking LARPing retard wants to actually talk about international law, you realize that even if you quote unquote stop the genocide in Gaza, you realize that you are not going away with the fact that actually Israel does have a right to pursue Hamas under international law. They do have that right because Hamas attacked them, and Hamas to this day has said they still want to keep attacking them. The only ceasefire they're ever going to offer is a truce that allows Hamas to rebuild and try again later. That's what they say. They have never said they want to end the Israel-Palestine conflict. They don't want to do that until Israel's destroyed. And under those conditions, yes, Israel still has a right to go and pursue Hamas. So even if you end the genocide, then you're just ending parts of the war that would be illegal. Like you're ending the war crimes, you're ending the disproportionate strikes, you're ending the aid blockages, but they're still going to airstrike Hamas. They're still going to target people who are surrounded by civilians. They're still going to target leaders who are surrounded by civilians. They're still going to go into cities and everything. Like even if they go by actually international law, you're still going to see people dying in Gaza until Hamas gives up. But that's, I guess, why? Because like to them, every single Israeli operation ever is an act of genocide. But yeah.
Like someone who doesn't seek to subvert the democratic process. They are saving democracy.
What I like to call woke dual loyalty, where you're just like, oh, this person is Jewish. Of course they love Israel. And that's a good thing. Versus what someone like a neo-Nazi says, oh, of course those people love Israel. And that's a bad thing because they're Jewish.
Democrats are really just trying to get the power back, right? The gavel. But they're not going to use that power when it comes, and it's going to be the same. Being engaged, no matter if it's the voting, because voting should be voting plus. I just don't want you to feel like there's no place for you all to be able to use your voice and push back.
I'm scared of the word intifada. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. Like,
no one is scared of a college student shouting intifada, but people are rightly insulted that they'd call upon the memory of literally over 100 suicide bombings for a protest ostensibly about peace.
Zionism is an exterminationist ideology built around ethno-religious supremacist values. So when people say like, oh, well, you know, I'm a liberal Zionist, like what do you mean? It's like saying you're like a liberal Nazi.
I wonder what her Jewish constituents would feel about that. The interview ends, and the funniest thing happens.
We don't really have a formal democracy at this point. We are going to elect a socialist mayor. We don't really have a formal democracy.
I'm running for re-election.
We don't really have a formal democracy. And even when we don't win,
there is no democracy at all.
Hassan meets some of his fans. After that, he meets up with the hosts of the Jam Pod for a school supply drive.
We're going to go get some food now.
Bull Connor held significant influence in Birmingham and used it to disrupt and harass civil rights organizers. However, Connor's power was dependent on winning elections. And so, Martin Luther King and others would strategize to make sure Connor would no longer stand in the way of their movement. I am so happy this stream is so short. Not even an Am Yisrael Chai can bring me down. We're going to be listening to an interview with Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL. Ah, boy.
A little bit worried.
It's all the same talking points. The last 5 days, he's just saying the same thing over and over again, and I'm extremely tempted to just roll through, but...
Once the British Empire took over British Mandate Palestine, they basically engaged in a settler colonial operation by sending as many Jewish people to this area as they possibly could.
And so that's 50 years of Israel-Palestine history just completely fucking mangled and butchered. Wow, okay. That's not what they... Bro, what? The British limited Jewish immigration, first of all. Second of all, Jewish immigration to Palestine was already happening quite a few decades before the British got involved. Let me do it first. Okay.
They engaged in a settler colonial operation by sending as many Jewish people to this area as they possibly could. And they did that for a deliberate purpose, to create a settler colony that could be controlled and maintained in this resource-rich region.
So to begin,
Resource rich. No, I'm pausing. I don't care what your response. Resource rich. Palestine. The famously resource rich. What is that? That's why this is the problem. Fuck it. I am talking before you do, Conduit. Fuck you. Okay. This is a React stream. Okay. They're disjointed. They're jarring. Fuck me. Rich. even by Ottoman standards, Palestine was not resource rich. The fuck. What the oranges, the Jaffa oranges, the Iraq Haifa pipeline. Yeah, obviously. Resource rich. Not to be an asshole, okay? Palestine was not resource rich, okay? That's not the fucking point of it. Really, of all the places in the Middle East that Britain could have set a bunch of fucking Jewish settlers upon, they chose Palestine? Really? The British have influence in fucking Egypt. They've got influence in Iraq. Syria, but they choose, well, the French have Syria. And they choose Palestine for their resource. Mate, he's insane. He's absolutely fucking insane. This is why, by the way, I take issue with people just umbrella blanket statement imposing words like settler colonialism on countries like Israel. Because, yeah, you can say, oh, technically they were settlers and they call themselves a colonial movement and they established colonies. But it's like, the problem is that when you just use these abstractions, the point of those abstractions is they are a shortcut to understanding very complex history. So if you want to talk about France being a French settler colony or South Africa being a settler colony, you can talk about that because they sent settlers to live there, they extracted resources, and they held control over there on behalf of whichever imperial country was trying to extract wealth from that nation. Now, the problem is when you use that term and apply it to Israel, just because they were technically settlers and there were colonies, if you apply settler colonialism to Israel, you get this. You get this fucking idiot who hasn't bothered learning anything about British Mandate Palestine or even about the country, like in terms of its geographical layout and its resources, because then you would assume that, like that, you build that alt narrative, which is false. No, the British did not send a bunch of Jews, as many as possible, to Palestine. They limited immigration and specifically actually even offered the state back to the Arabs in 1939 because they wanted to play geopolitics and play the Arabs away from the Nazis. That's one thing they wanted to do. They also limited Jewish immigration to the point that boats were literally getting turned around as they were fleeing the fucking Holocaust under British rule. You had Zionists literally bombing British sites in the 40s because they were so at odds with the British goals. And it wasn't so that they could establish a resource extractor. What resource were the Jews extracting and giving to the British from Palestine? The whole point about going to settle in Palestine was that it was incredibly fucking difficult. A lot of these early settlers were just like drip fed off of funds from the Rothschilds. But even in that scenario, they were struggling. It was really fucking difficult. Like they had to live in fucking huts because they couldn't get land permits or building permits from the Ottoman Empire. Or they struggled with farming because a lot of them weren't even farmers historically. They went there to cultivate the land from scratch. They had to drain swamps. They had to depend on a lot of charity money. There was a joke that said, if you're a Zionist and you want to make a small fortune in Palestine, just turn up with a big one. You went there to lose money, not to gain money. You went there to fucking start from scratch and toil the land and establish your presence there. And the reason that people stayed in large part was because to them, not because it was so easy to live there or because there was so much plentiful fucking Jaffa oranges or whatever, they stayed there because to them it was the end of the road. They had just come from pogroms in Russia and then they were forcing themselves to believe that this is it. We're not leaving anywhere else. This is like the Jewish homeland or whatever. Yeah, we're there. This is it. We're staying here. This is it's here or we die. Like that's it. And that's what they did. That was how they approached it. To the point that they actually, a lot of them, when there were Arab attacks on these settlements in the early days, in the late 1800s, they were literally like in denial about how much difficulty there was with the Arab neighbors. Like, so even when Arab neighbors would attack them or seize their livestock or anything else or take their land for grazing, they would still like be like, no, we just need to learn some more Arabic or have some more delegates or we'll engage in more trade relations or we'll hire Arab guards for the village. They were so adamant that this would not be another Russia where we flee again. Like it was so, like they forced it to believe themselves to believe that. Resources. Fuck me, man.
The Balfour Declaration of 1917, named for Sir Arthur Balfour, was Britain's written support for the creation of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Prior to this, there were waves of Zionist immigration from across Europe wherein Jews would purchase land, sometimes at multiple times its true value, and maintain it themselves. In some places, this meant draining of swamps and marshlands in order to make it habitable and cultivate farmland. In other places, this meant the eviction of Arabs who had been working that land, sometimes for generations.
Yep. Both sides.
This created tension that was exacerbated by the Balfour Declaration and coupled with rising Arab nationalism as the British took control of what would become Mandatory Palestine from the Ottoman Empire after the end of World War I. Not all Jews thought Zionism was the right way to go. Despite rising European nationalism and violence committed against them, many European Jews thought that assimilation would bring equality. To put it bluntly,
yeah, that's why more than went after 17, right? It's because the British were like, jolly good, sir. A lot of fine goods, some fine riches in this territory. Again, this is why you can't just retreat behind these umbrella terms like settler colonialism and just think you understand the conflict, because it's going to make you fill in a bunch of blanks that are not there. You can't just say, oh, it's settler colonialism, therefore, because then you're just going to assume it's this meme, isn't it? What's the meme of the soy jacks pointing at Indian spices? This one. You're just going to assume it's this for everything, that Palestine was the same as this. Why would they send Jews? Why wouldn't they send their own people? How does he think the British were sending Polish Jews to Palestine? Fuck me.
they were wrong. It's not easy to just come down and say that the Zionists who bought land and kicked out the people who lived there were correct, and the people who were now without their means of livelihood just had to suck it up. However, there was no perfect means, especially back then, for Jews to find a place to settle. Immigration quotas in America meant that Jews would not be able to reach it, which would continue to impact them after and even during the Holocaust.
Well, why would they do that? Why didn't they put them in? Surely when the Holocaust ended, these are just, wow, you're British, you liberate those camps and you're like, damn, there's a lot of settlers we got in here now. Wow. We've just uncovered a factory of resource extractors. This is why, fuck, you end up in an alt reality so quickly. It reminds me of being, how old was I? I was 16. I was 16, asking the dude who worked in the fucking local shop that I was at in school. I was at the shop for lunch, and the guy who ran the place was a Turk, I think. And I was asking, I don't even know why Israel's bombing Lebanon. I don't even know why they're doing it. And he was like, well, they want the oil. I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Israel's bombing Lebanon so they can take all the Lebanese oil. Fuck.
Jews would not be able to reach it, which would continue to impact them after and even during the Holocaust. And the fact that Europe would eventually become exterminationist towards the Jews meant that going to Mandatory Palestine wasn't just the best option, it would have been the only option. But this was still Britain promising land it did not own to people who did not live there.
Maybe he meant olive oil.
Of course people would be pissed. Now World War II is happening and the world is splitting apart across Allied and Axis lines. Germany seeks a partnership with Egypt, and so Britain, in an effort to sway Arab states towards their side, basically retract the Balfour Declaration and promise Palestine to them instead.
Wow, pre-watched.
Britain issues another formal statement, the 1939 White Paper, announcing that they would no longer seek to make a Jewish state in Palestine, and they would restrict Jewish immigration.
Hey.
They did this in 1939. Now everyone's pissed because Jews are trying to escape Europe and Arabs are trying to regain control of their land, and the British are playing both sides.
Yep,
to say that this was all just so Britain could extract resources like Belgium and the Congo is reductive to the point of being meaningless.
Yep.
The limited number of Jews going to Palestine even after the Balfour Declaration were not enough to make managing the region worth it, and the Jews going there were not arriving as citizens of Britain in another land. Their arrival signaled that they were severing their European connections. When the French were kicked out of Algeria, they could go back to France. For Jews in the 30s and 40s, where could they go?
Iraq. They could have gone to Iraq. I learned that from Hassan. They could have gone to right next door, right across the pond. The pond being the desert, I guess. They could have gone to Iraq. Just go to Iraq, bro. Just go to Iraq. I heard it's great. And just hope no dastardly Zionists throw a grenade in a cafe, killing one person, and then you all have to leave. Fuck's sake. God, he's so stupid. Okay, hang on. Hey.
So you're wrong about that. That's why I don't even like the language of diaspora. Because after a certain point, if you have your roots set here in the United States of America for so many goddamn generations. Like, you're fucking American, you know? Zionism existed along the same time as a lot of other Jewish forms of self-governance. We had leftist Bundism at the same time. It was competing with a ton of other ideologies and was never inherently going to succeed. It did so because of external factors like Balfour. And then, of course, obviously supercharged after the Holocaust, too. Because then there were plenty of Jews that were genuinely considered stateless and had withstood incredible violence at that point.
They were also fairly stateless before the Holocaust.
By the way, if you want to understand what Zionism is, look at the genocide in Gaza, because
It's like he realized he just unintentionally made the argument for Zionism.
So look, the reality is that intermarriage rates continue to go up. Assimilation continues apace.
This Nazi shit. This is shit that white supremacists say. Okay? How ironic that after a fucking century of Jews are doing the great replacement to taint the pure white race, now you got a Jewish dude literally saying that about Jews.
No, he's talking about being worried that the culture is going to disappear, that eventually the number of self-described Jews will decrease. The man supports Trump. Call him a white supremacist for that, not for having a preference towards people in his culture marrying within it, the way a lot of cultures already do. Anyway, from there on, it's his greatest hits until he leaves. He licks the bean. Ick.
Yeah, please leave it up. Okay. Yeah. It is off? Yeah.
He goes back to his hotel room and does more Israel news.
I'm going to go wash my hands and pee.
And when an Arab Jew gets interviewed about Gaza, something interesting happens.
We need to finish now all the terror. If the name is Hamas, now we must.
Dude, that's so funny. Like this.
Your classic Mizrahi fucking... Yeah, that's your Mizrahi fucking passion right there. No nonsense. Finish the job. Jesus.
This dude is a unk, bro. He looks identical to like half of the fucking Uber drivers we met today. You know he's Arab too. I mean Jewish, but Arab Jewish. That's
yeah. I mean, he would probably still be Arab if Arab nationalism had been a bit nicer to Jews. Unfortunately, that's how diaspora works. Hassan, well done.
It's not an unk. That's a Nazi. No, I'm just saying that like this is the insidious nature of fascist ideology over an imaginary boundary that was fucking placed. Like there ain't no way you'd know until he opened his mouth. You would never know.
Hassan actually pushes back.
Arab is not a race. We do not claim these people. They are not Arab. Stop saying they're Arab. It's revolting, frankly. I mean, they literally are. What are you talking about? They're from fucking Arab countries. They just happen to be Jewish. And now they're advocating for the fucking ethnic slaughter of all Arabs, all Palestinians, but just Arabs as a whole, really.
What? Okay, I've met some crazy Mizrahi Jews in my time. I'm not sure how many of them want to kill all the Arabs. There's maybe some I met that want to kill all the Palestinians or deport them. But yeah, the ones who want to kill all the Arab, that's maybe a bit harder to find. He's confused. Yeah. Yeah, that's your audience, yeah. But I mean, in the same time, Mizrahi Jews don't like being called Arab either, generally. Isn't that, like, don't they reject that label, don't they? Arab Jew. They reject it.
He actually has to tell his chat to calm down.
Also, chat doesn't need to calm down. That person is Arab. The person who's reacting is like me saying, is like a Latino person responding to me, being like, Nicolas Fuentes is not Latino, bro. He's not Hispanic. Call him something else.
My dad sure doesn't like it. Yeah, because obviously that's the two things that you hate if you're Mizrahi is you hate Israeli leftists and you hate Arabs, right? Because both of them you associate with quite a lot of trauma. You associate the Arab world with trauma because of all the Jews who had to basically give up everything to go to Israel because Arab nationalism was basically being like, yeah, you're not really part of this. You're not really part of this new project that we're embarking on. Yeah, take it or leave it. And then on the other hand, they also don't really like Israeli leftists because it was Israeli socialists who were Israeli lefties who were in power when they arrived in Israel, and then they got treated like shit by them as well. So yeah, that's why they don't like Arabs and they don't like lefties to this day. Same with my dad. Oh, we got a lot of Arab Jews in here, haven't we? A lot of Mizrahi. Your nationalism is that way, buddy. Yeah.
That's what that person is saying. Like that dude is 100% an Arab Jew, right? 100%.
This is the audience you have cultivated, Hassan.
Yeah.
They're following your orders.
Children in Gaza have been paying, the highest price for this unrelenting war that they have played no part in.
Channel 12 said that they need 250,000 reservists to permanently militarily occupy the Gaza Strip. They, I don't think, have the capabilities of maintaining interior security, an occupation in the West Bank, and an occupation in Gaza.
Real quick, can we go back to the logistics of Greater Israel and maintaining those borders? Then we're on to people getting arrested.
The enemy is strong and weak at the same time. Also, I can't believe that so many of these people just got completely... How many of these guys just got away with spending the last year saying that Israel was going to settle up Lebanon, to build settlements all over Lebanon? And now they've just kind of like pretended they never said that, like that just never happened, now that they clearly haven't and are not going to. It's amazing how much they do that. People need to really catalog all these predictions and failures. Hassan's thoughts on international law before October 7th.
Litigating it over and over again. Okay, just please read anything about Crimea. Read any article from American outlets about Crimea that predate like this last iteration of the war, okay? And you will get a better recognition for what even the Western world thought about Crimea and its annexation. Yes, it was illegal, but international law means nothing, okay? It does not matter. It literally does not fucking matter. There's no such thing as international law. When you are a nation with a nuclear arsenal, there is no international law. Please stop talking about international law, let alone the more...
Okay. I mean, that's more honest of him.
At a pro-Palestine protest.
In a wheelchair. I think I'm going to end it here.
I forgot. I'm made of rubber.
Israel is directly at war with the truth. Israel is not even allowing Western press and Western media to enter the Gaza Strip. I mean, this is disgusting, right? This is like blatant Nazi propaganda. It's Holocaust denial. If Israel's standards for what constitutes a valid military target was applied, then you can't say anything that happened on October 7th is a fucking war crime. Like literally, what do you mean? What? You could literally justify nuking Tel Aviv by that same standard. If the ADL can't stop me from getting placement in mainstream media outlets and magazines and fucking newspapers and whatnot, then it means that it's over. That's mostly to like a younger...
Tel Aviv can't stop me from what? Are they trying to?
Standards for what constitutes a valid military target was applied, then you can't say anything that happened on October 7th is a fucking war crime. Like literally, what do you mean? You could literally justify nuking Tel Aviv by that same...
Well, actually, you incurious fucking spoiled rotten moron, you would, if for like 1 second this fucking guy could just like take the fucking gallon of Houthi cum that's currently clogging up his entire little skull, he would actually know that if you just look at what Hamas says, then you know the difference between the way Hamas fights and the way Israel fights. You would know that Hamas are quite open about the fact that they lay their traps all throughout the entire city in buildings that are not marked military buildings. None of them are. And also that they have hundreds of miles of tunnels underneath. You would know that this is their strategy. You know, it's their strategy to make sure that the military targets are all sufficiently embedded and underneath or inside the civilian areas. That's what you would know. Yeah, you would know that they fight different. So that's not how you explain October 7th and everything there being a military target. The kibbutzim and the military bases were quite separate, actually, and Hamas targeted them separately.
Standard, if the ADL can't stop me from getting placement in mainstream media outlets and magazines and fucking newspapers and whatnot, then it means that it's over. That's mostly to like a younger audience that wants to feel smart, and therefore they can't like actually broach the subject matter that's like dense and too complicated for them to comprehend. So they just like watch.
Meanwhile, there's no nuance in a genocide. Nazi, genocide, Nazi, genocide, white supremacist, Nazi, genocide. Yeah. Meanwhile, the British just sent a bunch of fucking Jewish settlers, as many as possible, to plunder the many great resources of Palestine. That's what happened.
Someone basically summarize the worst version of events and get their notes from that. That's just like children's entertainment.
Complete! Congratulations!
Claudette Colvin isn't remembered in history as the brave young woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. despite being a victim as much as anyone else of an unjust law. Civil rights leaders felt that using Colvin's story would pull attention towards her character and away from the unconstitutionally segregated bus system. Rosa Parks would stage her refusal to give up a seat because it would create a narrative that was harder to discredit. Martin Luther King Jr. delayed protests in Birmingham more than once to avoid swinging the 1963 mayoral election towards Bull Connor, an extremist segregationist, so that the less extreme segregationist Albert Boutwell would win. Fighting injustice is in itself an injustice. It requires bearing witness to the pain and suffering you want to prevent as much as it requires taking action to end it. It takes incredible resolve, all for the sake of gaining the institutional power necessary to create systemic change that can last beyond one protest, one riot, one prison sentence. And at the heart of that resolve is compromise, with the people you want to save and the people who are hurting them, because ultimately, institutional power has to be ceded voluntarily for it to have legitimacy to the broader public. Fighting injustice is in itself an injustice. That's the lesson I want you to take away from this. Not that you're going to be disappointed with the results of your effort, but that your effort can actually change things for the better. Hassan promotes a worldview where you are morally obligated to reject compromise and coalition building because you somehow take on the sins of your allies. Hassan has spoken about Israel and Palestine near enough every day since October 7th, never changing the script, and despite having an audience larger than some entire US states, the most he has achieved is a couple of fundraisers. He has interviewed congresswomen and senator and mayoral candidate, but he cannot muster any genuine influence on policy via himself or his audience. He will talk at length about the influence of right-wing media and how Democrats need to use the same tactics as Trump, but he never actually puts those two things together as a form of concrete action. He just lets his audience fester in directionless rage, cheering whenever someone else does something violent that they can get some vicarious catharsis from.
And Kobe!
And screaming whenever someone says, "How about we stop fighting?" because it doesn't give them the same kind of dopamine hit.
Yeah, fuck
Criticizing Trump isn't enough to counterbalance that kind of ideological dysfunction.
I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice.
He can and has called Trump a Nazi, but that line of attack carries no weight without creating a clear difference between Trump being a Nazi
Oh, he's getting up there.
and Israel being Nazis. And all of this comes at the expense of people in the United States who now have to endure another 4 years of Trump, and hopefully just another 4, and the Palestinians who now have to endure a much more brutal conflict between Israel and Hamas. Regardless of if you think the left cost Harris the 2024 election, Hassan's message helps no one but Hassan. And that's the point. Political drama can be entertainment as a vehicle to keep people informed, but Hassan is using actual human lives for political drama that only serves as a vehicle to keep people paying attention to him, attention he doesn't even reciprocate. You are not obligated to psychologically flagellate yourself to the sin of being born in one place any more than a Palestinian needs to get killed for being born in another. You are self-harming to feel less guilty about a situation you don't have control over, and Hassan is enabling and encouraging it in order to make money. He courts a following of young people eager to engage with politics as a means to fix the world, and then uses the cover of real injustices to launder his extremism.
They got a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds wearing sandals, running up to $30 million fucking pieces of equipment and dumping an IED in there going, I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty.
He puts his hatred of Israel over and above the real grave danger the Palestinian people are in as they experience starvation, oppression, and injustice as they are trapped between a group that sees them as a necessary sacrifice at the altar of Israel's destruction, and a military being led by someone who needs the war to continue to avoid going to prison. Hassan doesn't get rich like a capitalist by exploiting workers and overcharging for a product. He gets rich by exploiting his viewers' energy, the real effort that they could put into improving the world by
That's
convincing...
a good line, exploiting his viewers' energy. Wow. The viewers are the means of production. Kind of. Yeah, that's how he gets the ad money and shit. Oh.
them that watching his streams is of equal value to engaging in a political system.
If you give up now, as pressure is mounting, instead of still continuously trying to get more people on board.
Because his streams do nothing, and he tells them that the system does nothing.
There is no real democratic process here.
And despite numerous terms of service violations...
What the fuck are you going to do?
There is the thing I know, is when you go from MLK literally postponing a protest so that a less bad segregationist can win the mayoral election, because it's easier to work with the less bad segregationist in power. When you go from that to these guys... One of those things is politics. The other thing is something else. It's like cult building. That's all it's like social niche building. The fact that so many people who, even the ones who cuck out to fuck, even the ones who are like, yeah, I think it's a genocide, or I think Israel's a terrorist state, like even they get kicked out if they say the wrong things. And you wouldn't do that if you were trying to build a political movement. You wouldn't do that if you're trying to achieve something. You would do that if you were trying to build an exclusive niche, like an exclusive fucking God, it's like a gentleman's club. It's like one of those, we're just going to narrow it as much as possible. That's it. That's the goal of it. It's so useless.
Bro,
he's still standing because of the value he has for Twitch and the relationship he has with Dan Clancy specifically.
Bro, we're never beating the Hassan runs Twitch allegations after this.
But at this point, it's gone too far, and Twitch has turned a blind eye for too long. So here it is, front and center.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Oh, that's
MK
from
Lambert,
wait.
thank you for the 50.
That's from the flotilla. Oh, they're loving it.
The subs.
It was Turkish dudes, wasn't it? On the flotilla.
Back to Auschwitz.
2010.
Yeah. Remember 9/11. Shut up, go back to Auschwitz. Remember 9/11.
Welcome to Hassan. Yeah.
Jews live all around the fucking world. That's why, even as an ethno-religion...
Why do you spend more time hyper-focusing on Hassan than Destiny? Because my coverage of Destiny is that... What would my coverage of Destiny be right now? He's currently spurging out because he got caught, quite likely, sexting a 17-year-old who he says, who lied about her age, but he also didn't really seem to exercise any due diligence and noticing quite a few signs that she was probably not the age she said she was. And that, what's that got to do with my coverage of politics and all that? I'm not a drama creator. That's generally I don't go into people's I've covered it already as well. There's not really much else to say about it. I even did the Leon meme with the Natalie Portman, how old are you? Whereas Hassan, it's not my fault that this guy is a fucking wealth of brain damage, tone deaf, uneducated, uninformed nonsense, where he's literally got this community of 30,000 viewers that he has turned into the equivalent of an online terrorist training camp, where he's just taking all of this potential left-wing or progressive energy in the United States and just turning it into pro-Hamas, pro-Axis dribble, okay? I'm sorry, it's not my fault that every time I turn on a Hassan something, he's just saying something completely fucking retarded. It's not my fault. It's funny, it's interesting, it's frustrating, it's trigger bait, it's everything. It's just good content. I don't know what to say. Whereas the two big stories that have come up with Destiny in the last year regarding Pixie and the Rose person is just incredibly fucking sad and disappointing and miserable. And also in one case quite personal to me, so... Yeah, of course I'm going to cover one over the other. Sources.
Okay.
Let's go.
The reason why there are Jews from all different places on the planet is because there are just Jewish people that come from different sub-ethnic...
Teuton is incredibly mad because he wants to discredit this entire video because of the Mearsheimer thing. Let me see. Mearsheimer, Tucker Carlson. Apparently when he said Greater Israel, he meant just all of Palestine, all of historic Palestine. And apparently that's why we discredit everything. But Hassan saying that Israel is an illegal entity, we can let him get away with that, because we don't give a fuck about fact checking. We only use it as a weapon to discredit people who are generally more correct, right? Yeah, well done, Teuton. Very transparent. Greater Israel.
Every American president since at least Jimmy Carter has pushed forcefully for creating a Palestinian state. We have long believed that the best solution to the Palestinian problem, which is the taproot of so many other problems that we face in the Middle East, is to create two states. So every president has pushed hard, except for maybe Donald Trump, for a two-state solution in the Middle East. The Israelis have rebuffed us at every turn.
Okay, so you realize that this is false, right? This is false. In this entire peace process, twice did the Israelis put a final offer for a two-state solution on the table with Jerusalem, refugees, borders, lands, all of it addressed, take it or leave it, or give us a counter. How many offers from the Palestinians on an equivalent to that? None. So even this that he's saying is false, but okay.
And the end result is we now have a greater Israel, and there's no possibility of a two-state solution.
How does it hurt the United States not having a Palestinian state? Why is it in our...
Yes, when he's talking about greater Israel, he's talking about just historic Palestine. He's not talking about the other Zog map that they use. Well, we got context, but then including in that context, we got Mearsheimer saying something else that was wrong. So 1 for 1, Teuton, I guess. You got him. Oh, wait, he's about to say something wrong here as well.
I'm sorry, I should have asked you, why do they...
Point proven. You're such a dishonest cunt, man. Holy shit. The fact that you think this, like, invalidates the entire video, like you said everything in this video is wrong. You are mental.
They want Gaza in the first place? It seems a lot of trouble killing all these people, committing, atrocities on camera. I mean, the press are barred, but we're still getting a lot of video out of the area. That's a big hit. Why would you be willing to go through?
Now, Teuton, your turn. Because I'm not letting you do this double standard fucking bullshit. Can you address the idea that Israel is an illegal entity? Please?
All of that to get Gaza. Why do they want it?
Well, the Zionists from the beginning have wanted a greater Israel.
This isn't true either. It's still not true. What? So, and Hassan said this was all on point. This isn't true either.
And David Ben-Gurion wrote a piece in 1918. And David Ben-Gurion, of course, is the founding father of Israel.
Yes.
Israel illegally occupies Palestinian land. Does that make it an illegal... Israel as a country, does that make Israel illegal as a country? Does that make... Is Turkey... Should we abolish Turkey because they occupy parts of Syria? God, you're so stupid. You're so fucked. That's how I know. This is how I know that this video was good, okay? Because Teuton is literally fucking molding. He's so desperate to find one inaccuracy in the video. And all it does is that the actual context shows Mearsheimer saying something else that's wrong. He's not saying greater Israel in the sense that they should conquer like everything from the Nile to the Euphrates. But he's wrong in saying that the Zionists have always wanted like everything greater Israel. So yeah, he's just gone from, wow. Yeah, he caught Mearsheimer saying something wrong about Greater Israel, but it turned out he was saying something else that was wrong. That's how you know this video was good, because Teuton is fucking so desperate to scramble away from the fact that this fucking terrorist glazing, spoiled to the fucking core, absolute fucking moron is just so unbelievably out of his depth, so incurious, so insecure about his intelligence, so fucking hateful. But damn. When he said Greater Israel, he actually meant that Zionists wanted all of historic Palestine from day one and never showed any indication that they'd accept anything less. Rip. Got him. Boom. But remember, Gaza is the graveyard of the occupier. Normal. Very normal. Can't fix stupid. It's ideologues. That's the problem. When people are like sucked into an ideology, it doesn't matter. You can literally like chop down 90% of the trees in the forest, but they'll still just like, because you have to do it one at a time, they'll say, oh, you're not seeing the forest for the trees. Rip. Ethan apparently got some information wrong about Destiny. Yeah, he was using some other leaked sects between Destiny and like a 25-year-old and saying that it was him and the 17-year-old. Yeah. Well, I guess by Teuton's logic, we can just write off everything then, eh? Every accusation. How do I reach these youths? How do I reach the radicalized Hassan fan, eh? They're so sturdy, and not in a good way.